Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Commodities Report, and the 20-year iShares TLT bonds here still need to come down further. Now, I had a little bit of confusion about this little area up here, in that, well, that's actually the high here, and could we look at this as down for one and back for two, and down for one and back for two, or could we put wave C over here as an A and a B, an A and a B and a C over here, and have this as wave one? Well, I don't think that's the case, even though it looks a little bit weird here, and I understand when you get a spike in the market, you take that with a pinch of salt and just follow the main traffic line. But we still haven't made a high here, but 1, 2, 3 and ABC here, and for 4 and 5. So I'm going to stay with this. And the other reason for this too is that I did have a look at the futures here, and we can see here in the move here, the futures moved higher. So to have this as an A and a B and a C wave, or even an A and a B and a C here into the April area here, right? This high in April is quite a good sort of starting point. And then to have this here as 1, 2, 3, 4, it's a nice fourth wave here for this, So having this as 1 and 2 here is about right, So I think that just coming back here, having this here, this is the same high, the 5th or 6th of April, right? So I'm just sort of happy there, and even though it's a little bit dodgy in here, I always like the look of wave 4. It kind of gave me a bit of gravity to that first wave 1 here and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is the third of the third here, that where it really gaps, so that's where you find gaps in that third wave. So having this as the third and the fourth here, and 1 and 2, and coming down for the third, fourth and fifth here, I think we're on the right track. Of course, I could extend it down a bit further and do a few things, but this is, even though you don't trade this is important, because when this bottoms, it's not always that bonds and stocks, agree with each other, but that would be a good basis. When this lands, we would see support come in, we'll see the yields top, we'll see the dollar top, we would see gold have a bottom in it, and silver have a bottom in it, and stocks, stocks kind of get led around in a way, via the tech stocks, and then others follow, generally speaking, in a roundabout way. But this, even though you don't trade this is important. That will help us, because it's a nice clear wave count, and we've got wave 3 here and 4, and maybe somebody's got a different count they can look at here. Maybe we need to look at this a bit differently. Maybe we need to look at this going down even further, and having this as wave 1 here and 2 here, and a stronger third wave here, because this is quite strong, isn't it? So that's a possibility. So we need to start, what I've been doing is looking for a low, and just sort of bringing all the markets together and looking at it, and even though I don't have all the answers, but what I do have is that this is definitely not completed to the downside at this point, and how far it comes down is still a little bit open. We can look at, bit of Fibonacci, fancy footwork, and so on and so on. But I think if we look at some of the other markets, that, because as a low, this can go as low as Joe wants to go, basically. But when we look at the flip side of this, and look at the US dollar, that the DXY, that's topping out the 61.8%, and its rally is at around the 10, above the 108. So we'll have a look at that in a moment, but we'll just have a quick look at the yields, because I haven't seen those for a bit. They did have a nice little move up. We'll just start at the 10-year yields here. So these two, this is like a 3 and a 4 here, and they need to top up here, get topped out up here. As I've mentioned, that we could look at this as 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2 here, and it looks like they've got the third wave happening here. So I can see that it needs to go higher. I can see that it needs to correct a bit in certain areas, but it's certainly not finished to the upside in terms of a larger structure here. But on the on the weekly chart here, you can see that, you know, it's quite clear that we have this nice, you know, from this, not this spiky, gnarly little dude here, but this one of 1 and 2 here, and then a nice 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, fourth, fifth here for the third, fourth, and the fifth. You can also see too that this as a fifth wave here, you know, if you look at the size of wave 1 and the size of wave 3 here, then you would say to yourself, well, that's a little bit small compared to these dudes, isn't it? You know, so this needs to go up higher. Now, obviously, in terms of the trading levels, I'm thinking that all of these, it doesn't matter pretty much what country you're in or what end of the yield that you're at here, but they will all, the 2 years are already at the 5%. So they're going to gravitate around here. Yes, they're going to be above and below and all the rest of it, but 5 to me is the second strongest number in the market. So we're going to see it gravitate here, but it still needs to go higher. It still needs to make a bit of an effort to get above that space there. So while this is pushing up here, we can still see the bonds go down and the dollar go up. Now, will they all turn together on the same day, and what will happen with gold and all the rest of it? We'll see. We'll just keep, you know, there's a beginning and a middle and end to each of the little trends, and we'll just keep sort of keeping an eye on it. But as far as I can see, the bonds need to go down, the yields need to go up, the dollar needs to go up, the gold and silver still need to go down, those sorts of things. This little spiky bit here, you can sort of remove that with the 5-year yield here. It's got a nice clean low here at this point on the 5-year yields. Do I have this on log scale, do I? Yeah, right. So that might make it a little bit easier there, but where's my wave 3 gone? It's up there. Anyway, this is still not sort of complete here just yet. So maybe the yields continue to move higher, even when the US dollar is turning lower, you know. So this is the dollar here. And this is the 50-60% retracement level, so it's up, Dixie's up around the 108 here. Different ways to count all of this, but either which way, it'll be interesting once we sort of get up there. I mean, I was looking at the volume, have been looking at the volume with these here. So we can see here that, well, we'll look at the futures as well, but we can see here the move up here. Even though it's moving up, it seems to be moving up on lower volume. So that is not sustainable. But on the futures market here, we can see that it's basically pretty much a paper trade to the upside. We're not seeing the volume diminish at this point. It's not really increasing, you know, for a trend to be a trend like this over here, you need to see increasing volume, you know, and corrections are on lower volume, but wave A and wave 1 can also be on lower volume as well. But this does remind me of coming down lower here, this on lower volume as the price comes down. It reminds me of a correction, a bullish correction that would take out the top over here. So that's been on my mind, and I have mentioned it before. But the way that I would sort of solve that is, well, just be patient and let's just look at what volume comes in over here. So we're not really, we're seeing paper money hold steady. So, you know, we know that there's a basis trade going on in terms of the US treasuries at the 2 end and the repo market and so on. There's, you know, that's hedge funds are in there making, you know, pretty much sure money on small amounts of price movement, but with very high leverage. So that's sort of, you know, that's where that trade is, so to speak. And yeah, so but not really seeing that increased volume here, and certainly not in, this is trading view here, and I think capital here is I think it's a CFD market. So can I just see that here somewhere? Currency, capital, CFD, Dixie. We really need, that's this one, isn't it? We really want that one. or this one here. I don't think that one gives me the volume. That's the annoying thing with that one. So I'll just check on this. This is not going to give me the volume either. Yeah. Anyway, that's another issue. But anyway, we'll just keep an eye on it. So anyway, that's where that is at the moment. So I'm thinking, now we're going to be looking at gold. So when we look at gold, all the turning points for the US dollar and gold have been pretty much, on point. So I'm thinking that while this is trending up, gold and silver will be trending down. But once this tops here, then we should see a turn, unless this is going to be a bullish market. But I can't see it ending as a bullish. I can't see this here as that, and really here, we can look at this here. I've got it as wave 1, which is pretty ambitious, but we can look at it as wave A, which is probably a little bit more less frightening, let's say. So we'll see, we'll take it like that. But yeah, so sorry, just go into the intraday from one day to this. And so this move up here, I've just been doing my best to count it. It's a bit of a rickety road. But I was thinking that we're heading into this third wave here, and then we'll have the fourth and the fifth up here. That's what I was sort of thinking, And this here is wave 1 and 2 here, and this will be 3, and this will need to be 4 and 5 here. So it's not quite finished to the top here just yet. And I think that pretty much gold is kind of a bit of a mirror opposite to this. And there's a couple of ways to count the gold market, so we're going to go and have a look at that now. So this is the weekly chart for US spot gold. It's a CFD product here, but generally speaking, they're all sort of the same now. We've got wave 3 up here, and we've had this as an A and a B and a C wave down here for wave 4. Now, we can count this up here for 5 waves up here. It's not the best looking 5 waves, I grant you that. We have made a slight high here for this. So it is possible, I don't want to sort of fluff things over. It is possible to put wave 5 here and actually have a top in the market here, and that would put the US dollar in much more of a bullish mode. At that point, you'd have to look at the milkshake theory at that particular point. But really, as a wave 5 sitting here, it really hasn't really made a decent high above here. Do you know what I mean? And normally when I would sort of consider things, I look at this distance here and this distance here in terms of accumulation across here. It doesn't really represent this. There should be more to it than that. So I'm quite sort of happy to look at this as wave 1 and wave 2 here for the interim, Now this is the 62 to 65% retracement level area here at 1800. So the wave 2 really can come all the way back down to here before it's invalidated, So either this area or the 78.6 is the next sort of fib area here. Now there's different ways to count this here. I always really prefer to go to the most simple, and looking at the most simple here, and which I don't have this on a smaller chart, but I do want to point it out here before we go in and have a look at the other 2 counts, is that we could look at this as wave B here and wave C here. This would bring us down to the 78.6 here, because then this here would become wave 1 here and 2 here for this. So that means that we would still need this little 1 and 2 here would still need to come out as a little, whoopsie-daisy, 3, 4 here, and then would still have the other little move to come into play here, and then would still have this one to come in here. So this would be, it makes a bit of sense really, having this as 1 and 2 here and 3, 4, 5 here. So it's a bit of a deeper move than the ones I'm going to show you, but I think it's valid, and we should need to keep a bit of an eye on that. So let's go into the, it's a weekly chart, so let's just go to the daily chart here. And this is the 50% and the 61.8% here. So I'm sort of focused on the 62 and 65%, which is probably about there somewhere. Not that it's a big deal. This number here is really quite important as a minor trading level. So this is one way to look at it, as an A wave here, and then an A, B, C for the B wave here, because you kind of got to remember that the way that the US dollar finished off. So in terms of turning points, if I just come back to the dollar here for a moment and just go into the daily chart here. So all of this down here was a little bit, well, let's just say open to interpretation of how one could actually consider this move here, you know. So it's reflected back over here. So I've got it here as a B wave with 1 and 2, and I haven't updated this here, but 3, 4 here, and the wave 1 wasn't very big here, so the wave 5 here doesn't have to be that big. It just depends on what sort of bounce we get off the 1800 here for that. So really we could have this as the A, then an ABC for the B wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And when we think about the US dollar, where we're thinking about coming back to the US dollar here, that we're coming into this third wave and fourth wave here, and then fifth wave, because they'll top out together, I'm quite sure. So this will be coming into the third, the fourth here, and the fifth here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about, you know. And yeah, sure, this could come down to, you know, deeper into this orange line here and all that sort of stuff. But so that's one way of looking at it. Silver's got a bit of a different way, where silver, we can actually look at this area through here as a bit of a triangle pattern. So we'll have a look at that, but I'll just do that. Just see what I've got on the 20 here. Yeah, we can do that here, but just let me get some more data in. Sorry to burn up so much time on this, but yeah, so it's different ways to look at this. Just want to have a look at what I've got on 10 here. Probably nothing, and haven't updated it. Haven't updated that. That's okay. So let's come back here, and yeah, this particular move through here just sort of reminds me of silver, really. So we just while we go here, see how silver's in a bit more of a tricky situation here. So I haven't cleaned this up either yet, but I'll do that now, because I just wanted to point out something here which I think was quite sort of interesting. So this is more so across here. This is more so like a triangle pattern in here, you know. Let's move that out of the way, move that here. So this one here would be some sort of third wave down here. I think we can have a closer look at this in a moment on some intraday basis, you know. But this would still give us something like this here, I reckon, depending where that is. So there's a much more complicated pattern happening here in the bigger picture for this. But so this, all of these big bumps here, right? You could even get the triangle pattern into here, which I think we have as well, which is the A, B, C, D, and E here. And if that was the E here, then this would be finished straight down here at that point. But anyway, all of this here, this is where this is coming from, over this side here with all of this here. So there's a couple of ways to look at this. We can look at it as the A wave here, then an A, B, and C here for the B wave. And in that case, we'll have 1 and 2 here, and then 3, 4, and 5 down here. And this was kind of lining up with the US dollar. That's why I like it a bit, you know. And then so we need this to bottom out. Then we need wave 4 here that can pull back up to the wave 4 1 lesser degree. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. and then we need, you know, this finishing off down here for this, so to speak. So that would be one move. We can look at this as an A wave here and go an A, B, C, D, and E over here, and have this as an E wave here with a B wave over here, and then have the low, like basically on those 5 waves here. That was the end of it at this point. But I just don't feel that matches up with the US dollar or the yields or anything else. So I've kind of just pushed it to the side a little bit, but just to be aware of that. And then the final one, which we just talked about, was this one over here, looking at the A wave here, the B wave here, and then looking at this as wave 1 here and wave 2 over here. Now this will take us down deeper still at this point, and I think that's very valid as well, and I kind of like it. It matches, I can see proportions better in this way as 1 and 2 here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So in this case, this, instead of this finishing off here like this here, we would actually have another 4th wave here and another 5th wave here, and then would go up. And I kind of like that too, because the thing is that, you know, when I'm looking at wave 2s, I like most of the time they're simple zigzags, no matter the size of them. So a zigzag is a 5-wave structure, 3-wave structure, and then a 5-wave structure. So a simple zigzag 5, 3, 5 structure here for a wave 2. So I think that's quite okay at that point. So even though it looks quite frightening down here, the price coming down this deep down here, what you see next, you always get the opposite of what you're looking at, you know. So we're seeing this strong move down here and you feel like shorting and all the rest of it, but basically, you know, you've had sweet dreams and now you're going to be having a nightmare, you know, you've woken up so to speak. Yeah, so I think you'll just get all sort of bouncy along this bottom trend line down here and those sorts of things. So yeah, just to let you know, there's different ways to view that, but my thing has always been, it really depends on the US dollar. You know, that's what I sort of see at this point with it all. So I don't know where we've been here. Is it 1,000 or 100 or something? So yeah, so basically in this little version here, we can look at this. We've had this as wave 1 here and 2 over here. We can look at the B wave here. I don't think that's the case. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here for the 3rd wave. There's going to be some type of ABC pattern over here for the wave 4. So it's going to be a bit of a bumpy road over here. And then we're going to go down for wave 5 here. So this will probably be something into here. May not reach the 1800. And then a 38.2% retracement level. So you can just take that from the top and down the bottom here and look at the 38.2% here, or the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree. So we'll just see how it bounces. It's come down quite strong, so it probably won't bounce that much, but we'll see how it sort of plays out. But there's definitely, at minimum, there's definitely this to go down, because that's what I see on the what's the name. And then the next one is that there can be another move coming down into this space here. That's the other version of the pattern. But there's no buying pattern here. There's no purchase here at this point. Okay, so that's gold, and silver's more of a complex sort of pattern. I can do the same thing here as well. I can put wave A here. I could actually put wave B over here as well. That's also possible, because we've got to look at everything. So an A and a B and a C wave for B. You could also go an A, B, C, D, and E over here, and you could have the B wave over here for this. I don't think that's the case, because that would have to end it right here. I think there's a bit more to it than that. So at minimum here, I think we should be looking at wave 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So we can do that pathway. So basically we're going to be bobbing down at the 2,000 USD mark here for this at least, you know. So with that said, I think we're also, I'm not sure if we're on the 20,000 or 1,000. I'll just go in and I don't know what charts I update, but so yeah, so for here I've got wave 1 and 2 here, then wave 1 and 2 here. So we can just play this out here a little bit differently. So I could just grab this. But certainly not. I'll just have a closer look at that trend in a moment. So just bear with me a second. It's going to be something like this here. Let me just have a little look at this here. So just let me get rid of some of this noise here. That's better. Grab that wave 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the third wave here. Maybe it's good as a start. Fourth wave, and this would be 1, 2, 1 and 2. So yeah, I'm not quite sure about this little guy. There needs a little bit more work to be done here. Do I need to stretch that out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could probably put that to there, No. So that does need, I mean, it's just obviously that it's going to go down. That's all one wave and 2 here, so 1 and 2 and 3. Yeah, so this is going to bring us down here somewhere, it's just so between 2000 and the 100 here, you'll have this is a minor level and a minor level, so the sub levels in here will be 10, 20, 30, 50 and 80 in group 2. So I could probably get this 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. I could probably even do that and put that over here for that too. And then this wave 4 would pull back up in here somewhere. Because I mean, it should hang around this number. So what I normally do in this case here, like 50 is important and 80 is important here. That's the next numbers. But the 2065, put that number there. If that becomes the resistance, then it's going to leave the 100 here, the $21 rather, or the 2000. We got silver, yeah, sorry, $21. So CFD product, different pricing. So if that number there becomes the resistance, then you're going to see the market drop down, be pulled to this number here. That's sort of how it is. So yeah, and also too, as I mentioned before, this US dollar here, we've got wave 1 and 2 here. I could probably shore that up a bit further. 1, 2, now 1 and 2 to here. So this 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. So not even top of the third wave. You still need the fourth and the fifth up here to get to, get up here further. So this is going to pull back into here and then push up again, and then get this wave 4 correction. So we're still a way away just yet with that. So that's silver. So I have burned up a fair bit of time, so I'll just run through this reasonably quickly. So this is the metals and mining sector, as you know, and you know that all of this here is corrective, bullish corrective, and it's basically working its way into the 5, the second strongest number here. That's what it's doing here, but it hasn't quite finished with it. We've got that high, that low, that high, that low, that high, that low here. So this is going to come down. I don't know if it's going to come down in 5 waves or 3 waves or whatever the hell it's going to do. But we know that we can't go buying copper or any of those material, steel products, stocks and all the rest of it. We can't do any of that yet. We've known that, so no BHP buying at this particular point. If these highs are taken out, well, then I'm wrong and we can go long. But in the meantime, we've been right over here. We couldn't do anything. We had to wait for this to top and drop, and then we had to go through this. What the hell is this going on here? So we've been patient. We've been doing all the right things, and we just continue to need to be patient and let it fall in place. It's not the market to trade at this time. It's not. We don't want to trade it short. We don't want to trade it long. We don't want to trade short into a big number. That's just, that's just an amateurish sort of thing to do. So yeah. Anyway, that's that. So nothing to do here. But that said, we can look at US high grade copper. We can look at it as an A and a B and a C and a D and an E here. That's one way to look at it. So we'll come down here a little bit further, which is a reasonable sort of theory in line with the XME. But the other picture for this is that we have, this is just, so it's the same pattern, it's just the copper index fund. So for here, we've same thing, the A wave, the B wave here, but in this case here, we look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and then moving down. So yesterday it popped up a little bit high here, and I thought to myself, where did that come from, you know? But anyway, it's okay-ish. So this is probably 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. So we need to, you know, we're expecting it to retest. I just wasn't expecting it to go that high, but I can see what's going on a little bit. But that's going to drop this down here much further at this point, because that will be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, unless that's down for 1 and A and a B and a C. But that looks like 5 waves to me. I know that looks kind of crazy, but yeah. So basically, this needs to come down further. So this one here is much more of a deeper view here now. You know, take that with a pinch of salt, but that being corrective here, especially, it doesn't really, on the futures market you can actually get 5 waves up here, but on the LME where it's more volume, it's pretty clear that it's corrective. And if that's corrective, then, you know, it can take out this low here. If it's a triangle pattern, it doesn't have to take out this low, of course, but yeah, anyway, it's just not ready to buy, you know, that's the thing. So no buying any copper today. So you have to get, all the plumbers need to continue to gather and hold their copper. A lot of plumbers do that. Okay, uranium. So yeah, look, we've looked at the bigger picture here. I really like it. You know, I've been sort of harping on about it, but we've got that 5 wave structure here. So that means, you know, even at worst, we'd have 5 waves over here, and then we'd have another 5 waves over here. This point in the structure here, obviously it's really kicked along here, and it's going to have nothing but trouble all the way up into 30 here, but eventually it will get on 30, and then it'll find support, and then it will continue to move up at that point. And we'll probably, there's different ways of viewing this particular move here. We may need to look at this as wave 1 and 2 at this point, but I don't want to go that far out just yet. But yeah, we should be heading higher, and based on this 5 waves here, that's a good catalyst to suggest that we will go higher. And based on that, coming back here to the daily here. So we've been working through a series of wave 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 here. We're at the 38.2% for this green wave 4 from wave 2 here to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for this. It may pull, this is 40% basically, it may pull back and want to be pulled into this 25 area here for that. It may find support, you know, where it is now or down a bit lower. I don't know, I haven't pulled it apart, don't really care, because I know that at some point, even if it does go down here, it'll still just end up here somewhere, and then it's going to end up over here somewhere as a wave 4, and then over here, and that will be a bit of a top in here, and we'll have some sort of ABC across here, and then move up here further. You know, it'll be all like that, you know, wave 3 and 4 here. So this is going to be a really hard slog here. So this is really just somewhere to park yourself, you know, to be in it. And yeah, but anyway, that's that. I won't look at the stocks because I've burnt up too much time. And over to the energy sector. So the energy sector's got me a little bit sort of confused a little bit, because XOM and crude pushed up here to make a top here, so I could put this top here, but this one here didn't make this top here. I don't want to give it a truncated 5th wave because it looks like it's in 3 waves up here. So I've got to look at this as being wave 4 here still, and then going up for wave 5 here. So because with crude I've got this high, it made a high up here, you know, it pushed up here, and we could put wave 5 up here, but it didn't do it here, so it's diverged here, so it's chucked a bit of a spanner in the works. So yeah, I'll be able to sort it out in due course. This move down through here as the A wave, the B wave and the C wave is just about completed here, so it can push up from this point. But I'm wondering if crude's going to do the same, you know. So when we look at crude over here for a moment. We were, crude pushed up and made a new high here. So I said, okay, well, that's cool. We'll go 3, 4, and 5 as we've been doing. But now I've got to kind of consider it as a wave 3 there as well, because of what's happening here with, with the stocks. So that's sort of, do I go an A wave and a B wave and a C wave over here for this? So I've just got to mull this over. Something's not quite right here for this. But anyway, following this down here, my best bet is we've got 5 waves in here for 1 and 2, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the 3rd wave, and then the 4th wave, and then we're going down for the 5th wave. So we should find a low in here somewhere. When you're around large numbers, in this case with plenty of zeros there, it does skew the wave count. All the large orders tend to be pulled to that that large number. So yeah. So yeah, I'm just sort of thrown off track because I was going along all quite nicely, and I thought, well, we started coming down here, and I thought we'd just have our A wave here and our B wave and our C wave over here for that. But that's going to throw some of the other markets out of sync a little bit, So we may end up seeing this as a C wave here, and then just going up here, and then coming down and making an ABC. So I've got to get my head around this. I just need to mull it over and just sort of check a few other markets, and check its Chevron and a few other things, and see what's what. So a little bit more homework in that, but we've got time. We don't need to do anything at this stage anyway. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. So a bit of an issue there on that. And then we come over to natural gas, and I won't go to the bigger picture here. We just want to stay onto the bullish picture here for a moment, and the bigger picture is that the $2.50 is a fantastic support. So the move up through here, it's trending up. I mean, we could call it bullish. It just hasn't countered that well, but I've sort of gone with it, and the only way I could count it was with wave 1 here and 2 here, and then 5 waves up for 1 and 2 here in blue, right? And then over here I have to change this around a little bit, so I put wave 1 here and 2 here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. I don't particularly like the 5th wave, but it's made a new high. So looking at this is the A wave here, the B wave over here. I could probably put that over there. And then looking for the C wave down here. So the C wave would be 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the 3rd wave here somewhere, then the little 4th wave in here, and then the 5th wave over here. So I'm just going to wait for this to play out here. I mean, my case for being long was always having support on this number here. We are getting there. We've hit the tops here a couple of times, and we've kind of pushed the market, because if this here, if I can just borrow this, if this was going to be, instead of wave 1, an A wave and a B wave here, then the C wave would really be on top here for this one here as the A, B, and C. But this little spiky top here just took out the top here, so it kind of destroys the ABC pattern here. So then if it's not an ABC, it must be something else, which must be sort of bullish. But at the same time, it's being pinned down by the $3 mark here. I don't know. The oil trade very much. I mean, I know some basics, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it to be a professional, gas trader, so to speak. So yeah, but as far as the pattern goes, really as long as it stays above this trend line here, or the 50-60%, then we'll just continue to monitor it. But in terms of trading it, I thought that we'll let this finish off as a C wave down here, because it looks like an A wave and a B wave and a C wave here. Not a very good B wave here. It looks like a bit more like a wave 1 here, but and it could be an A and a B and a C down to here, and then just go straight up from this point here too, in that case, you know. But we get the first high above the level here again, and then we'll go long at that point. Otherwise, it will come down here, we'll get 5 up here, we'll get an A, B, C here, we can go long here, and keep going. If you're long at the moment here, then we just got to just keep out of the way while it's doing all of this. Don't get in and out, just stay in, and make sure that your positions are really quite small at this point, you know. So that's it. It looks bullish. I just don't have the setup yet that I'm looking for. I know I'm rather particular about these things. It looks good. Everything sort of is there. But I just need to get the timing right on this. So yeah, just to repeat a little bit, it's possible for this to be counted up as 5 waves here for wave 1, and then that would make this wave 2 coming back here, and that wave 2 here would really need to end here, because this would be the A, the B, where the 2 is here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would need to be the low in here at the 2.9, say. And then it can push all the way up here. But even if it does do that, I'm not going to chase it. I have to wait for that for 5 waves to go up there and then pull back again, you know. So anyway, patience is the solution for this. But if you've got a position in it, you know, I just stay in it. If this trend line here became the resistance here, so a move below the trend line, then I'd put the stop under here like that, you know. Alrighty, I'll leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.